the online event calendar is something Duke has had since about 2008. That is shortly after some undergrads went to the provost and said, departments do cool stuff, but we don't know about it. Unless we walk by the bulletin board, think about how long ago that was. We wouldn't know what's happening. And so the provost said there shall be an event calendar. It was in the provost office for a while and transferred to University Communications about 4 years ago, and that's when I got started with it. And that's from the idea that the calendar tells a story. It tells a story about what's happening at Duke, all the great things that are happening at Duke, the people who are sometimes in complete disagreement with each other, but we all are able to hold events and learn something from each other. And what we want to do is be able to publicize those. It's a little harder for me to not see faces, so I'll get used to this. What we're going to talk about today is an overview of how the calendar works. We'll talk about how to create and manage events. We will view best practices. We will talk about working with images so that you can make it look good, even if what you get is not great or not exactly right. And we'll talk a little bit about feeds for departmental websites, questions, feedback, next steps. And I hope we'll get us done in a little over an hour. And then we'll get started. So the calendar itself, like I said, it's offering a listing of everything that's happening on campus, including student groups and departments. And y'all are among over 500 people at Duke who post stuff to the event calendar. And when people hear I run the event calendar, they think I know everything that is happening at Duke, which is not really true. I pay attention about a week in advance. Mostly then I'm fixing a typo or two or helping somebody with an image or just sort of polishing the title, perhaps. There are about 10,000 events published each year. That includes things that are private to departments and are public to the university community, visitors, everybody. It's fully mobile responsive. That means it looks almost exactly on your phone like it does on your computer. And it helps us all know what's happening. This is what the calendar looks like today. I refreshed this slide today. What we added when we redesigned this about 2.5 years ago is that this featured events page. People asked us to help them know what's really important. That's kind of hard for me because you might not be interested in the same things that I'm interested in, but we are choosing about 5 events that we think have broad interest. This is a little harder right now, given that there are very few events happening. So we have a couple. And we also have the ability to search by topic. That's everything from natural science to athletics to arts to any way you can think about categorizing things. And that's how you can browse. You can also browse by type. And the type are lecture, performance, music, and also lots of different tags of descriptors. So it's about a particular part of the world, or it's an information session, or it's a meeting, or it's a party. And then you can search by group. And if this were a live website, it would click down and it would show schools and departments. And then also student groups. It has an additional couple of things that are specific to the School of Medicine side, pretty much. Also breaks through the sciences. There's a calendar of scientific events and a calendar of clinical events. These are also available from the School of Medicine website. It's to help people to know what's happening a bit more broadly outside their department, and for medical students to know the kind of sciences that are happening. And it's here, so it benefits everybody for those sorts of views. Make sense? Questions about that?
No, super.
The individual pages. So if I clicked on that calendar and I went to a particular day, or I really wanted to know what was happening today, this is not today, this is a while ago, we would see, that's a featured events page again. Look at that. Okay, well, whatever. We could go to the locations. We could go right here to log in. That's what each of you can do. There's also a button at the bottom of the page. This is where maybe you clicked to ask for an account. You could go see academic calendars and submit a public event. This is valuable for you to know about. Some of you may have used this first to enter your first event. It is also how someone else in your department can enter an event if you're not here that week. And you can choose any date in the future to go see what's happening. And one of the things that we have here is the breadcrumbs list. So if you searched by date and you searched by one of the topics or the groups, that would be listed up here. We also have this bar that is the ongoing events. So one of the things that folks told us is the kinds of things in the Nasher or other opportunities to go see something that's on the wall. We want it to be there, but we don't want it to clutter every single day. So those things drop down here when you click the ongoing events. And then if you clicked on any one of them, you could go directly to information about that event. And we talked about that. And this is what the detail event page looks like. This is the image that was uploaded. I didn't say yet that if you don't upload an image, there's a stock image that will appear. It's an image of Duke. There's about a dozen of them that rotate. You have no control over which one shows up. And if you refresh your screen, you'll get a different one. It's just the way the algorithm works. When you come here, you know where the event is. There's also the location. If you click here, it will take you to the campus map and show you where that location is. Under the event, you have the name of the group that is sponsoring. If I were to click here, it would go to all of the events that this group has published in any future date. There may be co-sponsors. They would be listed here. Co-sponsor in this case means a group that we've agreed to publish it on their departmental calendar as well. That doesn't necessarily mean they were funding, but that they want it to appear for, they expect it or want it to appear for their group as well. This is so each group doesn't list the event on the main calendar and we don't get 5 different versions of the same event. And here, this is the event detail information. There are 1,500 characters in this box. That is enough to describe nearly every event. It may not be enough to include the full abstract from someone's paper. You'll have to explain to your faculty members that on that 1,501st characters, it'll truncate. So either we need to say something different or we need to use fewer words. The more information link, that can go to a website. And that website might be your departmental website. It might be a Qualtrics form that you want people to register on. It might, in some cases, be a Facebook page because you're advertising it that way as well. There is contact. So this will hyperlink to an email to the person listed here. This is where all the type categories would appear. Some reason that one doesn't have any. Up here, what does this do? The first one is Facebook. So if I were to click that, I could share my event on Facebook. That way I could create the once here in the calendar and have it appear on my departmental website, also have it appear on Facebook. I could also share it on Twitter or LinkedIn. And this one right here is a calendar. That's supposed to be a calendar icon. And it will drop down and you can add to your Google Calendar, or you can download an ICS file, which is what Outlook can read. So that's the way you can get it on your calendar and not have to redo some things. One other thing to point out, if you were doing this online and you had entered the Zoom information for how to get connected here, it would come up and say web link, and then it would be a hyperlink to take you to where this event is. And what we're going to do now is do some testing in the actual test database so we can see what's happening. I'm a little inexperienced at Zoom here, so I think I can figure out how to switch things. Bear with me. And we're going to go over here, and we're going to go back to Zoom, and I'm going to share my screen again. Share screen, and I want this instead. There we go. Okay. Now I'm showing you what is on the calendar today. This is the, no, this is not the landing page. That's the landing page. There we go. So we're having the headline everybody is having. We have the secondary headline that is telling people most things are canceled or they're online. We're going to go over here to the test calendar so that I can play. We got people who are working from home. We're having training. Here's an example of an event that was canceled due to the reason we are all working from home. And so that's an example. They've gone in and they have marked it canceled. That causes it to show up here in red. They also changed their image, and we got that going on. So let's see. Did I show the web link here? No, I didn't. Maybe on the other one. Nope, didn't. Okay, well, not for that. So we're going to go, okay, we'll go edit it. We'll go edit that event because we need to show the web link. And when y'all log in, you will get the Shibboleth logon if you haven't already done so in this browser session. You will only see the first two buttons here to add event or manage event. I have more buttons because I have more power than you. And so the first thing you're likely to do is manage an event. Yeah, apparently I've been logged out for long enough that it kicked me out. Let me try again. So there you go. I can show you that. And when you change groups on me, let's see here. Oh, what? Try again. There we go. Come back over here. You. There we go. The most likely thing you'll have to do first is edit an event somebody else created. When you come to this page, this is the list of all of the events I have scheduled in the next 180 days. That's one thing to keep in mind, because if I were to put an event in right now and that event was going to be in December, I wouldn't see it on my list right away because December is more than 6 months from now. And the first thing, and if I wanted to see events in the past, then I could go on this calendar and go in the past, or if I wanted to find that event in December, I could click ahead and go here. That's one of the things that's confusing. And you can't type in this box. You have to actually click on the calendar thing. So we're going to go here and edit our event. And the internet at my house is a little bit slow. So, we should, it's all day. And it's happening, I put till the end of March. I don't really know when it's over, but we should have put in here a webcast URL. Oh, look. Well, that's YouTube. That's something else that I put in here earlier. I'm not sure where that link is really going to go, but we're showing how we could do this. When we edit an event, some of the checkboxes uncheck. So here's one I'm going to show you. So I put in a location that's wasn't listed because I needed to say we were all in different places. So if I click that again, then various will come back up as the location. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to update that. I'm going to go back over here. And now if I look at this one and reload, well, it should show me that. It's being a little bit slow at the moment. And it really should be this fast, but it's not at the moment.
That's okay. It happens.
So if it takes more than a minute or two for your changes to appear, that's a signal that there's something wrong. And you can help me help you by emailing calendaring at duke.edu. That's the easiest way to make sure somebody responds. If you email me directly and I'm not here, like I'm on the sofa because I have a broken leg, Maxine will see them, and that way we make sure that somebody can respond to you in a somewhat reasonable length of time, rather than wait for me in particular. And we'll go over here and we'll work on adding a new event. And our event is we're going to have a party, and it's going to be in May because we're going to be celebrating the fact that we are all back on campus again. So, so we need to pick the day in the future, the duration. We're going to have a 2-hour party. What's going on there? Why are you telling me? Yes. Yes, calendaring, ing, at duke.edu. And we're going to have a party. It's going to last for 2 hours. Usually the event doesn't recur. The status is confirmed. That means the event's happening. That's the default mode. There are 2 other options: tentative, which I'll talk about in a minute, and canceled, when an event is canceled with short notice, and then you get those red letters appearing saying canceled. That's a better choice than deleting an event, because deleting an event, then people are confused. They're calling you. That's not what you want. You don't want a bunch of phone calls and a bunch of emails from people because they're like, where did this event go? Is it going to happen? Usually I use the example of it's going to snow and your speaker can't come is why your event would get canceled. But there's lots of reasons. We have to have a description, and come celebrate back to campus. We're coming back to campus. If there were a cost, well, no, of course it's not low cost. The assumption is that anything that's on the calendar is free, unless there's something in that blank, and then it would tell you to go to tickets.duke.edu to buy a ticket, or go to one of the other sites that'll help you manage that. the event URL. This is the how do I have more location, how do I have more information for people who might want to come to this event. If I were going to upload an image, we're not going to do that right now. The location, I can type ahead on this list, and it's going to be in Penn Pavilion because it's a great big party we're having, and I'm the contact. So your name should appear in the contact dropdown. If there are others that should be contacted, email us again, calendaring@duke.edu, and let us know. If there's a location you use a lot that's not in here, also let us know, so you don't have to maybe have a typo, forget to put the URL, those kinds of things. And we need to choose some things, and we're having a party. Now, I inherited this list of tags from the previous iteration, and I can't tell you the difference among some things like party, reception, social. I don't quite know the difference, but it mattered to people, just like whether it said conference or symposium or lecture or talk or colloquium. So we had to add all the words. And these are also the ways that you can search from the event calendar screen.
Can I ask a question, Anne? Sorry.
Yes?
It's Carolyn here.
Hi, Carolyn.
Hello. So I know there was a box there for tickets, but what if you wanted people just to register for your event?
Mm-hmm. That would be a really good use of the event URL. You could say in the description, register at link below, and
Okay.
then this could be a Qualtrics form.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
And so choose at least one of these options for tagging your event. Choose how many is right? Well, some number between 1 and all of them. You don't want people to feel like some websites are pulling information by the tags as opposed to the departments. So volunteer community service or multicultural or diversity. And so we don't want an unexpected result to most people. So use your best judgment. And I also didn't mention if we had a co-sponsor for our event, we'd go in here. And just like that other box, it types ahead. So student affairs is sponsoring with us, and so is the provost office. And any of a number of departments. One of the confusing things is when you're typing here, it won't find university communications because it already knows, well, I can't type. It won't find university communications because it already knows that I'm the sponsor. It's smart in that way.
Are the co-sponsors also, I don't know the right word for this, but do they also act as tags?
Yes, this is what acts as a tag to cause it to list them as sponsored, and if they're pulling events to their website, then it would automatically show up on their website.
Super, thank you.
And okay, so we are ready to add our event. And it is going to cooperate with me now and appear. I need to go to today's event. And I put it at some point in May. And the little pictures are kind of, it was around the 15th, something like that. And summer session was started by then. Party, there we go. It was that quick. And So did I put any of those links in? So the more event information, that's where your Qualtrics form might go right from there.
Okay.
And if I had written lots more, it would appear there. I can now show, here we go, that I could download it to Calendar or save to Google, or I could add it to Facebook. And I don't think I'm logged into Facebook right now. So, yeah, well, I can add it to my Facebook account, or if I managed for my department, I could add it to their Facebook account. I could add it to my story. I don't even know how to do that. So somebody else will have to tell you about that. And so there were some other things that we could do, ongoing events. So I have an example in here of an ongoing biweekly meeting. This is a bad title because we should tell people more than it's a biweekly meeting. But that's what we have. So we might have the situation that the meeting is really pretty much the same every time. So we could enter that as a recurring thing every 2 weeks. We might need to go in and update the master event. That will change every one of the future events. That it wasn't supposed to be at 2:00. It was supposed to be at lunchtime. And yes, this is a 24-hour clock. And that means that we will all learn military time. I do find at times that events are on the calendar for 2, 3, or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I usually figure out that they meant the afternoon and change it for them. I'll contact you and let you know. It takes once or twice of making that mistake, and then we'll get it all figured out. So now I'm moving it to noon, and I'm going to update that event. And then in April, we're going to change that instance to say bi-weekly meeting and birthday party. That one. And then the one that is, we don't go all the way to, how far did I go? Let's see. I didn't go that far in the future. So we're going to go for the one on May 18th is canceled. Oh, wait, that's not it. Return the list. The one on May 12th is canceled. We're going to go to that instance. And we can do one of two things. It's far out in the future. And so in that case, we could just delete it. If I were to click here to delete it, ask me if I really, really want to do that. So we had the opportunity to not make a mistake. I'm going to not delete it in this case. And instead, I could mark it canceled. We already know what that looks like. If I were to go to this and choose, but I should show you what it looks like here. Canceled. And now if we look here, it has added the double crosshatches to let you know that that's canceled. It brings it out to your attention. And if you had chosen tentative, the only thing that would have changed is that you would have a single diagonal slash through it. And that's a reminder to you that you intended to go back and change something. It is already appearing on the event calendar. So generally, I don't recommend putting stuff in that you intend to go back and add to. And here's why. If you are sharing on a Trinity College website, many of those sites, the way they were designed when the calendar was first new, And in order to save the past events, it makes a copy of the event. And then if there are subsequent changes, the local website doesn't act on the updates. So that's a reason to wait until you have all the information about the event to put it in, rather than to put something in tentative and then add it if you're sharing with any other Trinity website. Does that make sense? What else didn't we do? Let's add a new event. We'll show that an event recurs. We can choose daily, weekly, monthly. We can even have the detail if we click show advanced rules for something that happens every month on the third Thursday. That may have the problem of being a challenge with Thanksgiving. So we would maybe need to add a recurrence because it's going to happen on Wednesday that week, or that we would show that one is just not happening. Let's see. The description field, even if you added something that looked like a hyperlink, it would not be a hyperlink because this is a plain text field. It will not respond to bold or italics or much of anything. It will pay attention to paragraph breaks. So, and we're going to have it repeat twice. There we go. And so now we're going to think about how to add an image. It's important to note that images can be JPEGs, PNGs, or GIFs. It cannot be a PDF. And the image must be 353 by 530. Where did that come from? Why do we use it? It's the standard that we're using on Duke websites. It is the size of it, the orientation of image that makes sense on your cell phone. And the download, and find this one. And now she's the right size. We can make this bigger again so we can actually see what we're doing. And then alt text. When I add an image, I have to add alt text. What do I mean when I say alt text? This is describe the image to someone who can't see it. So this is as simple as, in this case, says am light. If it were a bunch of puppies, I could say puppies. If it were a generic picture of a person in the lab, then I'd write a person in the lab. So that's important to help our visually impaired persons. This information will then, when you're on the page, that text will roll over. I assume you know what that means. And a screen reader would read that text because otherwise the image wouldn't be discernible to them. And I'm adding that event. Okay. There is. Sometimes when you're having a recurring event, an event that happens every week, you're a different speaker every time, or it might be at a slightly different location. Oh, I didn't put a title of the event. Okay, well, it didn't like me because I didn't put a title of the event. Test. There we go. And so sometimes we're going to do something that's similar, but not exactly the same each time. So in this case, I might go to an event I've already created And instead of having done a bunch of recurring events and then going back in and edit the speaker for each one, I'm going to create each of them, but I don't want to type most of the same stuff over and over again. There's this cool button right here. It is called copy event. So when I do that, it will save all the information that was already in that form, and I can edit again. In this case, Maxine's going to present next time. I'm going to list that here. And most everything else is going to be the same, except it'll be Maxine. And maybe the title would change. The one thing to note right here, right now, is because I've already copied the event, copy event doesn't appear anymore. Now, I've made this mistake in the past that I opened it up. I thought I clicked copy event, and I thought I put it in and I was going to save it, but it still said copy event. That means, oh no, I'm about to overwrite the original, and I don't want to do that. So I'm either about to overwrite the original, go ahead and do that, and I have to go back and recreate the original, or I need to stop what I'm doing and exit return to list so that I don't overwrite the first one. What else did I just think of? Sometimes there's a series name. This will show on the detail event page. So this might be something that is the MEMS seminar or the bi-weekly training or something that you want to be able to see that's similar, and people might want to go to it because it's part of this recurring series. It's the Provost Lecture Series. It's any of a number of things. And it's a way people can search in the search bar on the main page. And I'm going to put this very far in the future when Maxine is going to present. And it is add event. And if I go here, then I'll be like, where is it? Why can't I see it? Because it's more than 180 days in advance. And if I go to a different time, I'll see the new one. There we go. Oh, that's what I didn't say. I'm going to add a new event. So when I'm adding a new event and I put all the stuff in and I forgot to change the default. The default date and time is the current date or approximate time. And that's, so if I've entered an event and I went to go look for it on my screen and I can't, on my manage event screen, and I can't figure out where it is, look at the current date, because that is often the error that was made. Now, I'm going to figure out how to go back to the PowerPoint so that I can look at the things I'd left out, and we'll do the last few slides. And so I'm going to stop sharing this one, and then I'm going to go back to share this one. And so all these are in your handout. The manage event screen. Oh, the filter by. So right here where it says select category, if I had a whole bunch of different events, say I was athletics and I had men's and women's sports in the same group, I could select the category men's sports, and then I could go find the sport or the event I wanted to change. Some of us have that many in the future, so that it's useful. The start date is by default today's date. If then you can change it. Then here's how to add an event. This is going to help me see what I forgot to mention. Your group names, the date and time, that's the default. An all-day event is a holiday. If you really mean an event that is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., that's the preferred time to enter at 9 a.m. and then add that it's an 8-hour event. You'll use an end date mostly for exhibits. Those are things that you'll click ongoing at the bottom. The duration will automatically calculate. The things that have no duration or end date, these are things like performances or that you don't want people to come partway through. Note, avoid end times after midnight. If you're not a student group, you might not be ever having this situation, but if it went over the midnight hour, it would convert on the way it displays in the calendar to show all day. That's confusing. Recurring versus ongoing. This is for when you forget, when you start to do it yourself. And about how to delete them. We talked about confirmed and tentative, and description of the event, the optional cost box, the optional information. We talked about the size. Can I use this image? This is a link to a descriptor about when is appropriate use of an image you found on the web. Basically, the short version is if you're advertising for someone to be there that's presenting at your event, then you have permission to use it. And it's a free use image. But if it were something that someone else created, you couldn't use it forever. You could use it to display your event. And that will go into excruciating detail about yes or no, can you use it? Under contacts, we talked about custom information, locations. Speaking of images, well, one more thing. Do we know about WebDAM? Is everybody familiar with WebDAM?
Nope.
WebDAM is the Duke image sharing platform. And any image you find here, you can use. So actually, you're going to see the purple version. Come on. There we go. This is the one you'll see. So you can find images of scenics. You can, wait, where's the, back here. Can search. Where's the search? Why is that? There we go. Okay, I was too far down. So I could search on Penn Pavilion. I don't want gardens. There we go. So these are events that happened in Penn Pavilion. I was really hoping for the building. Those are apparently Penn championships. Let's try it differently. I spelled that word wrong. Oh, maybe not. So, okay. So here we go. We could download, that's not what I was looking for. That's a really pretty image of the Blue Devil weather vane that's on top of the Vonderhayden Pavilion on West Campus. That's where the coffee bar is on West Campus. So I could click here and download. It's been downloaded 5 times. You could find just about any image of Duke in this collection. This is duke.webdamdb.database.com, and you'll be prompted to log in. You click the shibboleth button, and there's 154,000 images total. And there we go. There's that sidetrack. Didn't mention this. Local. Local means do not display on calendar.duke.edu. Only display on my departmental calendar. This might be things like faculty meetings that you wanted to post on your departmental website, but not to the rest of the world. Ongoing, that's the thing that tells it to roll it up in the ongoing list, that it's an exhibit on the wall, and we don't want it to clutter the calendar every single day. Images, some reminder, show happy smiling people. Again, brand.duke.edu for information on logos, fonts, color palettes. WebDam is here. Canva, we've been over. And Canva has redesigned their website. To change an image, that's an important thing. If you have added an image and you want to go back and change it, or if you added an event the first time and didn't add an image, you would scroll and click remove image, which is on the bottom right hand below the image. You'll see that goes away and the stock image comes back. And then you open the event again. You click browse to add your replacement image. And in the event description field, add a space at the very end. What this does is tell the computer that it must save as to save the new image link. Best practices. Please, please, please don't use all caps because it's really, really hard for me to read. Events canceled with short notice. We talked about that. Writing from the reader's point of view. What does your audience want to know? So you want to lead with the topic. So if you want lots of people to come to something, you talk about, and there are monkeys going to be there, you talk about monkeys. If it were something that is specific to researchers, then you're talking about simians who are doing this and this when this happens and that happens. That's a cue to the reader that it's a specialized audience that this is coming to. I also want to think that people are scrolling through the calendar in their phone. You want a billboard-like title so that you can catch people's attention. Generally, you lead with the topic, but if the speaker is a big draw, then you would lead with Colin Powell is coming to speak about use of military force. And this is about naming again. TBA is annoying. Weekly seminar gets a little bit better. Weekly seminar with a presenter and a series name, that's best, but it's really best, superb, to have a title and a presenter and other information. In this case, the location of none is not particularly helpful, but feeds. So there's a tool at urlbuilder.calendar.duke.edu that helps you create a feed by your departmental name or by a category to feed to your website. We recommend people use JSON because that's the newest feed and the easiest to parse. It creates things that will allow you to put the information in once, have it appear on calendar.duke.edu, and have it appear in the format of your website by entering it only once and then grabbing that information onto your website. I can help with it a little bit. Mostly web designers will help you. And, oh, right, feed curator. So, one more thing about stuff on websites. People have asked in the past, I want some things from my co-department, but not all of them to appear on my website. Or maybe I want to bring things from that are policy related, and policy related happens in child and family policy, in Stanford School, in economics and public policy. Yeah, I think I said that already, in political science. But I don't want everything. How can I do that? So we have this new tool called Feed Curator that uses the URL builder to bring a bunch of stuff together. And then you can go through and click, I want this one and this one and this one and this one, but not those. It's a more manual process, but it also gives you a more finely grained opportunity. And it's found at feedcurator.calendar.duke.edu. Maybe that'll be helpful for your department if you're looking for additional information on your website. Again, all those resources. And this presentation is available at calendar.duke.edu/help. And quick troubleshooting. If I'm getting a weird error over and over, that is most likely that your computer didn't fully disengage from the system the last time. This is happening less and less because we've done some things on the system side. But if you keep getting this weird error message, try closing the browser, clearing the cache. If that doesn't work, restart your computer. And if that still doesn't work, calendaring at duke.edu, please help me. If you're having trouble and stuff's not appearing on your website, here are some first things to try. Then calendaring at duke.edu is the next step. And questions?
That's been great, Annie. Thank you so very much. I didn't know anything about the back end of adding events, and I feel confident enough that I could actually do it myself. So thank you so much.
Great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would totally second what Carolyn said. This is great. I've learned a lot. Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome. So feel free to contact us if you have questions in the future, and we're happy to help. That address again is calendaring at duke.edu.
Great.
Everybody be well and stay safe and figure out how to work from home.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.